There's an entire advanced civilization there, including some of the largest pyramids on Earth right in Antarctica. He said he flew into an area that opened up at Antarctica, and he went into an area where it was lush and tropical almost. We have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole with extreme speed, and he says they come and go as they please because nobody can stop them. There is a situation that began to happen during World War II where they discovered that the Nazis had gone down to Antarctica and built a base down there, New Schwabenland. They were like, wait a minute, why in the world would they go to this desolate place? What's down there that they would want to go through the harsh weather and risk everything, risk even their lives, to be down there and build a base? Now there's an incredible story that was in Admiral Byrd's diary that was found by his kids, where he said he flew into an area that opened up at Antarctica and he went into an area where it was lush and tropical almost, and as he got into this area, this is according to his own diary, people can look this up, something took over his plane, and these two UFO-type craft, circular craft, flying saucers came and they took over his craft and guided him into this area where they landed. Then they took him to meet somebody that he calls in his diary, the Master. Pretty interesting story, and according to this account, the Nazis had gotten help to create these crafts called the Hanabu. They had 4 versions of this craft, these circular disc craft, from these people down there. The guy, this Master, told him that they were wary of the nuclear bombs that had just been utilized, dropped on Japan and so forth, and they were wary of our experimentation with nuclear devices and wars because they're sharing this planet as well. Pretty interesting story. And so all of a sudden Admiral Byrd's going down there with a fleet, not just a small fleet, he took over 3,000 people with him. This was a huge expedition, it was a military expedition. When he got down there, they had a situation where some of these flying objects were attacking some of their ships and actually destroyed some of them, sending him back home packing with his tail between his legs. This was one of the top admirals, literally the top admiral in the world at the time for the United States military. He said that we have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole with extreme speed. Why would he make a statement like that? And then all of a sudden, you know, these Nazis are rumored to have these crafts, some of the designs of which have been found, called Hanabu. These Hanabu crafts had the capability of utilizing a couple different forms of propulsion. One was jets so they could take off vertically, they had little jets that were thrust and could take off vertically, but then from there they could shoot off horizontally. They were using a device that was spinning in the center of the craft, and what it appears to be is that they began to copy technology from the ancient Indian Vedas, because Hitler was sending his people all around the world to get knowledge on ancient technology. That's how they found these people in Antarctica. He even sent people to Tibet, Nazis to Tibet, to talk to the people in Tibet to find out about this ancient technology. He found out about Vimanas, and these people supposedly in Antarctica helped him develop a couple of them where they use a ferrofluid vortex engine. A ferrofluid is a liquid metal like mercury, and in the ancient Indian Vedas, if you take mercury and rotate it at a high RPM and electrify it, you get something called antigravity. So he was utilizing something that had rotating discs underneath these round crafts, according to eyewitness accounts and also the schematics that were discovered during the collapse of Nazi Germany. And it's pretty interesting that, besides the uranium down there in Antarctica, which obviously, you know what uranium is used for, right? Nuclear power plants and also nuclear weapons, there are mountains. Admiral Byrd said there were mountains of coal with no ice caps, his exact words. And I can give you a copy of this video, his own mouth is saying, no ice, mountains of coal that can satisfy the world's need for coal for a very, very, very long time. Also, there's plutonium down there. Again, so uranium and plutonium, we know that if you have a high level of plutonium and uranium, it's one of the easier elements that you can separate the atoms, you can split atoms very easily, which makes it highly useful for weaponry and also power plants. So that's why the government wanted access down there. That's why the Germans wanted access down there. And that's why after Germany fell, we had Project Paperclip where we took all the scientists from Germany. They had learned all this wisdom and knowledge, and we brought them to America. People think Project Paperclip was just a small number of Nazis. We took over 2,000 Nazis with us and brought them to America and put them in positions of power over technology companies, the CIA, the space program at NASA, and so forth and so on. And we began to develop these technologies. So in a weird kind of way, America became the Fourth Reich, to be honest with you. And I know that they were developing, at the time, Hanabu No. 4, which supposedly Hitler never got killed. He escaped in No. 4 to Argentina, which is very, very close to where Antarctica is. If you look at Google Sky right now on the computer and look down on Antarctica, you'll find bases, research bases, from every major country in the world there. And you'll also find the Rockefeller Foundation base as well. So Admiral Byrd was right. All the technology and research, the #1 place in the world for technology research, is right down there in Antarctica. I believe that as the ice is melting, they're finding remnants of an ancient civilization. We know that Antarctica was not a frozen tundra for 12 million years like mainstream scientists want you to believe. Mainstream science says 12 million years to build up all this ice. No, that's not accurate. We know this because of the Piri race map. The Piri race map shows Antarctica, what it looked like without ice on it, and that's not even that old. So we know that Antarctica shifted into that spot. How? Because we know that Antarctica is surrounded by tectonic plates. And so that landmass was on a plate that slipped, and there was something called a pole shift of the crust of the Earth, which shifted it from a more habitable climate into the position it is now. And that's why the animals that are being uncovered from the ice were flash frozen with undigested food in their stomachs. And there's an entire advanced civilization there, including some of the largest pyramids on Earth right in Antarctica, like they make the one at Giza, the Great Pyramid, look. Like, a dune buggy, I mean these are super massive. There's only a couple of things we know, like one of the pyramids is 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers at the base. Wow. The height is just, it's massive, it's way up there, like, it's in the thousands of feet. But also, one former military person that was a source for Linda Moulton Howe, this was on a documentary she was in, said that the source told her, after going down there for research, I guess in private security, that it was still emitting some type of exotic energy, which is pretty interesting because that was the second time I heard a statement like that. The first time was on a documentary that came on Discovery Channel about the Bermuda Triangle, when they found those pyramids off the coast of Cuba down there, all right? Which is clearly scanned, everybody knows that they exist. But this guy was taking a little dinghy, he would get off the boat and take like a dinghy out to float to the center area, and he said the same thing, some type of exotic energy was draining his batteries on his cameras. He had to try 3 times to get this thing recorded properly. He said, exotic energy. And what's interesting is if you take a perfect line and draw it from the tip of the Bermuda Triangle, the center of the Bermuda Triangle, straight through the Earth, you come out at the Yonaguni Pyramid at the Dragon's Triangle in Japan, which is also rumored to have UFO disappearances and exotic energy and all this other crazy stuff. So in some way, these pyramid structures around the world are all linked with potentially portals of some type or energetic portals. The Antarctica Treaty, do you know about this? Yeah, that treaty was to allow peaceful collaboration of research and science down there, no war zone. You can actually go down there. There's a guy who's got a new show on my TV network, his name is Brad Olson, it's called * The Secrets of Antarctica Star. He went down there, and so we're documenting the whole thing. He went down there, he pulled up on the research facilities, he had to get approval to come on land, they wouldn't let him inside of the facilities, but he did get a chance to go down there. So people who say it's impenetrable and no human being, no civilian, can get there, that's actually not true. You actually can. It's very expensive and it's very, taxing on the body.